So these documents were available to every single employee within the company that was full-time. And so as a full-time employee at the company, I just searched for some keywords and these documents started to pop up. And so once I started finding one document, I started finding keywords for other documents, and I would enter that in and continue this cycle until I had a treasure trove, an archive of documents that clearly spelled out the system, what they were intending to do, in very clear language.
So, have we heard this story before?
Like, I went and I gathered and I looked at all the patterns and then I finally found the SI.
All I did is, because you didn't lock the information down, I just went in and found it all. If you didn't want me to see it, then you would have locked me out. Notice the fear here is okay, Google is controlling stuff. Probably. I'm sure they are.
Right.
But his fear is that this is going to be forever, which is why he feels he has to sacrifice his life to save us from
like
this.
That there will be no balance.
Right.
Okay, 2 seconds. Like, that just hit me because the reality is I'm a double observer. That stuff does not freak me out. Why? Because I already know about the ebb and flow of control and chaos.
Right.
I'm not freaked out there. I know that control and chaos ebbs and flows. I'm fine with that whole process.
But a single observer.
That is where the single observers do get nuts. It's not all always about conspiracies and stuff like that, although it does roll into that. Yeah, you're going to see that as the extreme thing. But like, it's just like the single deciders are really nutty when it comes to all in on, I made a decision once and I don't want to go back. Forever.
You're like, a bad person forever.
Or I decided that we were always going to have chocolate chips in the fridge and I never redecided that ever. Forever.
That's a true story right there.
Like, yeah. Like, and if they run out, I'm in big trouble because I just decided that and then we don't go back.
And if we get sick of them, then we don't like you.
That is so accurate. Yeah. It's just a very all-in kind of thing. So what you said there, like, that hits me so deeply of like, that is why it is so scary for the single observers of feeling like the control will always be there. It won't ebb and flow.
Therefore, I have to go nuts.
I have to do something now.
The Google whistleblower has come out of the shadows, this time releasing a large cache of remarkable confidential Google documents that expose Google's political bias and a scary progressive social agenda.
My name is Zach Voorhees, and I was an employee at Google for 8 years. And the reason why I collected these documents was because I saw something dark and nefarious going on with the company. I felt that our entire election system was going to be compromised forever by this company that told the American public that it was not going to do any evil. And I saw that they were making really quick moves, not only in the documents, but also in the internal speeches that the executives were giving to the company, that they were intending to do that. They were intending to sculpt the information landscape so that they could create their own version of what was objectively true.
Okay, so technically it's good what he did.
Yes.
But like, where we would be like, you're a little off. My personal thing is, I would say, his energy.
That's what I was going to say. It's like,
it's not bad what you did. It's that you're like,
that's where it's like, hey, you don't have to do that to yourself.
Yeah.
When you go up against Google because they're over controlling or over chaos or they hate you or they don't love whatever your demon is, it'll happen.
Right.
You don't have to be so scared that this is going to be forever because the code tells us, oh, this is just
a normal
legitimate
part of
problem
reality.
hitting me right in my demons.
Yeah.
This is going to feel like the scariest monster ever.
Right.
If you treat it that way, you can then create it. And that's what happens in this story, is that he gets a little bit more and more freaked out for legitimate and unlegitimate reasons.
Right, okay.
And forces Google to get more aggressive.
After I realized that Google knew who I was, I started going to lawyers and attorneys and trying to figure out like what Google's likely next step was going to be. And both attorneys that I talked to both said, this is the first step in having your life ruined. They're going to come after you. And so I realized that this is what was coming to me. So what I wanted to let them know is, look, I've got your data. Yeah. And so what I did is I put out a dead man switch so that in case they were going to either try to destroy my life through the legal system or that they were trying to just, off me because, I'm exposing a really big thing, how they are tampering with elections. I wanted to let them know that, hey, look, if something were to happen with me, then these documents are going to be released immediately.
The image on his Twitter, how does he view the situation?
Yes. Like, that's an EP type of image where it's like the control, the essays
dragon,
do the exact
this
same
demon
thing.
is controlling me. He's not fighting a legitimate problem. He's fighting an unfair, demonic dragon in his mind.
Yes, it is a problem. Like, obviously, we're acknowledging, that's still a problem. But if you turn it into this, now the bad guys are coming after you, and now you're creating
we all
stuff.
do this.
I know.
We do this all day.
And this comes from, by the way, not accepting that there is dark and light in reality.
Right.
Because, like, if you already know that darkness is happening out there, you're like, oh, I found one.
Right.
I know how he's feeling.
Right. The last clip here, you can see a little bit of his ENFP-ness, his NF, where he's seeing the value of how valuable is he with or without this data, what's the chessboard, and he's figuring out in the abstract, okay, what is valuable, what's not valuable, and what's the next move, and what do I need to do? So you can see the kind of NEFI playing out in this last clip.
Interesting.
Are you worried about your safety?
I was, because, because the documents hadn't been released yet, the value of taking me off the chessboard was really high. And the expense of, taking me down, in which I wasn't well known, was very low. If nobody knows who somebody is, then if they take them off, then it's a conspiracy theory that the real reason was because of some nefarious cause. And so what I realized is that I needed to both increase the expense that Google would take to do something bad, and also reduce the value of that successful operation. And so I decided that the best way to reduce the return on investment was to come public, release all the documents, and get the target off of my back. And so that's what I did, and that's why I'm here today.
It's funny that that's the same conclusion every ENFP comes up with.
I know. I'm going to just share the information because information needs to be out there and free-flowing. That's an OE conclusion, by the way. That's,
free choice.
Yeah, I know. All of us OEs love to free the information. In fact, the more information I get, the better, and the more I can share.
It is far more nefarious than anyone ever suspected. Google wants us to think that they're blacklisting these racist sites when really Google is supporting these racist sites. We've recently uncovered some footage that proves this conspiracy.
So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a restaurant, but the call actually goes a bit differently than expected. So take a listen.
Doing happy?
Hello, I need to speak to somebody who can speak a Chinese.
Nhớ tụi mày à?
Đó mà, somebody điểm đám đớm.
I don't understand what you tell me. It's too late.
I need to make big order for
$500.
$500. I give you
I don't care.
You fuck you, bitch.
I'm doing happy.
Hello?
Yeah.
I want to make the order for the pick-up, please.
Fuck your mother, okay?
No, let me know why.
Fuck your mother. All the big up big fuck dick, okay? Fuck you. Fuck your mother. Fuck your mother, okay? Come here, fuck your fucking ass.
No, let me know why.
Again, that was a real call. We have many